In this video, I'm not asking permission anymore. Roll titles. Well, hi YouTube, Brian James at Micro Four Thirds Guy with you once again, and as I say in this video, I'm not asking permission anymore. What do I mean by that? Well, you might have seen my video just a day or so back where I was saying about how I was losing a little bit of interest in doing stills photography, but I was doing an awful lot of video photography. And I mentioned about being able to interchange lenses and use silly long lenses if I want to, but I've never really done that on video. So I've decided I was going to come out today with my G9 and my 100 to 300 and shoot all video, which I've never done on that. Now you might hear some banging in the background, by the way. Before I do this, I'll swing you around and you'll see that the guys are up there hammering and banging because I put the new a new beach shack up. So just ignore any hammering and banging. So what do I mean I don't have to ask permission? Well, I saw some of your comments on that, and a couple of people sort of said along the lines of, you don't have to ask permission to be doing these things. Why are you telling me this? Well, part of the reason I tell you these things is because it's a subject I can talk about. You've got to have some content to make videos. It seems a bit silly just sitting here going with nothing to say. So I talk about all sorts of things, some particularly pertinent, some not so pertinent, but always looking to try to get some content which you might enjoy. And that's what it was yesterday, saying about how stills were going off on my radar a little bit and video was coming in. But then I had a really interesting phone call, well, an internet call, a WhatsApp call with a very good friend of mine who's also a subscriber on here. You know who you are. And I had a very good phone call with them last night. And what they said to me was quite interesting, because they said, well, you go as that Micro Four Thirds guy. I said, yes. He said, you don't go as that Micro Four Thirds stills guy, do you? And I said, no. He says, you don't go as that Micro Four Thirds video guy, do you? I said, no. He said, see that Micro Four Thirds guy? Yeah. Said, so you can shoot what you like. You don't have to ask permission. You don't have to specify that you're going to be shooting stills or anything to do with that. You're using Micro Four Thirds equipment, and that's a Micro Four Thirds that people are interested in. So whether it's from a stills or a video point of view, you're still that Micro Four Thirds guy. And I sat and thought about it, and I thought, you know what? You hit the nail on the head. I've only been doing this channel for about 5 years, and it's only just clicked that that's actually, that's the truth of it, isn't it? I can basically, if it's based around Micro Four Thirds, then I can shoot what I like. I don't have to stick to photography, stills photography or video or whatever. I can do hybrid. A lot of people said I'm a hybrid shooter, and that's what I can be. So what I've done today is I've returned to a place I did a video on a couple of weeks ago. I'll stick a link up there. Sodap Beach. I still haven't got my way around this island yet. But I took some photographs of people who were on the parasail, the parachute sort of thing, being towed along by the boat. And I thought, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I suggested yesterday. I'm going to bring my G9, my 100 to 300mm lens, and the only lens that I had on it, so a long lens, and I was going to try and come out and take some of the water sports out here, the little jet skis, the parasails, and all sorts of things out here. So what I've done is I've put a little compilation of videos at the end, just to show you what I've been able to be doing with this. Now what I did is I set it on to manual, because I wanted to be able to adjust the exposure a little bit, because one of the things out here is it is so sunny. Trying to get the camera to settle down and give me something usable, I found it was quite difficult. So what I did is I put it onto Cine manual, and I tried to get it so it was a division of 30. I always shoot on 1080p 30, and I tried to get it so it was a subdivision of that. So I ideally would have been 1080p 60, 60 frames a second with a shutter speed. But I thought, well, that can't do that, so I put it on to 125, which is as close as you're going to get to 4 times the frame rate. And that should hopefully give me a good setting on this. And what I did is I went out with the first few shots on this, you'll find were done on the tripod, trying to reach across the tripod. It was a bit too bright to be able to see the back screen, so I was trying to reach across and see in the eyepiece and just leave. I don't have a proper video tripod with a handle on, so all I just did was just undo the ball slightly, so it was giving me stability, and just follow along with the ball slightly loose. But I was finding it was difficult. I was tripping over the tripod all the time. So what I then did is I took the camera off the tripod. Now the good thing about the G9 and the Lumix lenses is that they've got dual IS on the G9 and most of the lenses. Different levels depend on the lens. This is the Mark 1 lens that I've got of the 100-300, and it's not the best. It's the I think it's the OIS on this one, OIS 1. But basically it does give me dual IS, and it gave me a lot of stability, so I handheld them. And I'm really impressed with the output. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the output. Let me know if you think that basically I can or cannot shoot whatever I like on this channel, being Micro Four Thirds guy. I was being shot on Micro Four Thirds. And of course, Micro Four Thirds and with Lumix have been one of the leaders in doing video from small format cameras for quite a number of years. It's only recently that Sony's really taken over, and that was more to do with the fact that with the face detect. So if you're shooting with something like a G9 Mark II, you've probably got one of the most ideal cameras for doing video work without having to go to specialist video cameras. Let me know in the comments what you think. Give me a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. But I'll leave you these videos and a little bit of music just to watch what was happening on the beach today in the way of water sports. See you later. Bye-bye.